Thank you everyone for coming out.
Thank you for being here.
This is organic, right?
Yeah.
We don't want anyone to be here who doesn't want to be here, right? So that's the most important thing. We don't support censorship, right? It's all about freedom. I'm with NCA, National Citizens Alliance. We're based out of Calgary. We're 100% grassroots, 100% non-establishment. That's critical. We focus on all the big issues affecting everyone from coast to coast, worldwide. The reason we do that, because most people are divided, misinformed, they don't have a good idea of what's going on and how to deal with it. So we have to raise awareness. When we get a critical mass of people who are aware and understand what's going on, then we can implement the changes that we want. Until we do that, you're heading in the wrong direction, in our opinion. So everything we do is about awareness. We got a lot on our website, on our social media, so go check that out at nationalcitizensalliance.ca. Today I want to talk about how you can protect yourself with what's here and what's coming. I did talk a few weeks ago about it. I'm going to build off what I said then. There's important things going on globally that we all need to be aware of. One of them, there's a movement away from the US fiat reserve currency. I think most people know about that. It was called the petrodollar, and it allows US to print all this money, to create all this money, create all this debt. They're almost 30 trillion in debt now. Biden has already added around 2 trillion this year alone. That is crazy. Canada's significantly in debt too. We piled it on during the lockdowns, but before that it was bad. We're over 1.67 trillion in debt nationally. We're a debtor nation. U.S. is a debtor nation. Most of the West is a debtor nation. There's interest payments on that money. That's why they can't raise the interest rates too high, because they could go into insolvency. They won't be able to pay it. But that's financial reality. Then I can't talk about everything, but then we look at Ukraine, what's going on with that. All the billions flowing from the West into this proxy war that started in 2014. I would argue before that, but that's when it really started in the Donbass region. There's been an 8-year war, proxy war there. Around 14,000 people from Donbass have died. The Western deep state media has completely ignored that. They've lied about it. They whitewashed these Ukrainian neo-Nazis there. And it's not just the Azov battalion, there's lots of them, right? That's what's going on. They're funding them while we're hurting here. The food prices are obscene right now. Every time I go and pick up groceries every other week, they're higher and higher, everything across the board. Fuel prices are going up through the roof. We're hurting. And then we got the government massively in debt. They want to increase taxes on you. That's what's coming. It could be another form of carbon tax, and it doesn't matter whether it's this or that, multi-controlled opposition. And I talked to someone today about it. They said, well, nothing changes, right? Nothing changes. See, the problem nothing changes is that Canadians keep electing the multi-controlled opposition. These are multi-controlled parties that are controlled. So it doesn't matter which one gets in, right? So that's why we need the awareness. Most people are oblivious to what's going on in Ukraine. I'll give you the reality on the ground. I research this every day. Russia is winning the military war. They have won the economic war. The ruble is extremely strong. They have more revenue coming in Russia because guess what? The commodity prices are so high. They're doing very well. We're suffering in the West. Not these so-called elites, but you and I on the ground. are suffering. This is completely irresponsible, reckless, but is it according to design? Are they seeking to make us suffer before they bring the financial reset, digital currency, global governance? We don't know. That's a question. You know, is it the chicken or the egg type argument? But time will tell. Digital currency is real. The Bank of Canada, other institutions are working on it. As soon as it's been gone through all its tests, these puppet politicians will legislate it and it will become law. Cash, eventually, in our opinion, will be phased out. You will be given a certain amount of time, in our opinion, to use it, or it will have no value. We'll end up in a digital existence, and that means total control over you. They will have knowledge of your financial transactions as they happen. You will have no privacy. That is what's coming. But I will tell you there's things you could do, and that's the most important thing, but I have to lay the foundation of what's coming here. But when you think of the reset, when you think of the so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution, the centerpiece of it is global governance, aka, you could argue, one world government. That's the premise of it. Fortunately, Russia, as an independent sovereign state, is standing up to it. That's what they're doing. They're standing up to what's called the unipolar, biased, that's my opinion, biased, rules-based world order. And this is basically coming out of the US and the EU. And, you know, Trudeau always mentions the rule-based order because that's who he works for, that's who he serves. The problem with the system, it's unfair, and there's a movement away from it to a multipolar world. We see that in China, Russia, India, Brazil, Iran, other countries. They're moving away. NCA supports that. We don't want one world tyranny. That would be the ultimate form of tyranny. A multipolar world is better in our opinion. And there's a movement. It's coming through the ruble, the yuan. Since March, I'll give you one nugget to think about. The trade in ruble and yuan since March of this year has increased over 1,000%. And that's a movement away from the US reserve currency. Other countries are doing it. And they're smart now. In those countries, they're fed up at being dictated to. An unfair global system, and they're standing up to it. And where you stand up to it is through the US reserve currency. Expect this to accelerate. Expect more countries to start trading in their own currencies. This will cause the US fiat currency to drop and maybe potentially collapse because of all the debt in the US. How does this pertain to Canada? How do you protect yourself?
Tangible assets.
Real money, hard assets. And guess what? Guess what in Canada? The multi-control cabal in Canada, you divide you, left, right, and all the other garbage. They try to make you into political zombies. All our gold reserves have been sold off in Canada. 2016 was the final nail in that coffin. And that's very dangerous for Canada as a country as a whole because we don't have real hard assets, real money supporting Canada. Actually, the Canadian fiat dollar is supported by the fiat euro and fiat US dollar, right? So we're in an extremely vulnerable position. And why is this happening? Because this multi-control cabal is completely 100% sold into the unipolar bias rules-based world order, right? They didn't ask you, did they? They've done this through the decades. Yet, Canadians keep supporting them. I talked to some people here still supporting them. And I ask, why are you supporting what's harming you? Why support what is hurting your family and your future? Why not support individuals, organizations that are helping you? That's all you need to do.
No watching TV.
Right? So as individuals, things are going to get tough. There's already talk of recession, market crash. There's a lot of indications that we're already in this bearish downtrend if you look at the markets. Starting with the tech stocks, the NASDAQ, you can see it's dropped almost 30% since January 2022. So my concern is to help everyone here and help myself protect ourselves. If we don't have any wealth, anything, we're in big trouble, right? So the message, do what the central banks are doing. They're loading up on precious metals, gold, right? And next month, apparently, there's going to be 3 countries that are going to be buying. We're going to wait and see. There were some reports of it, over 200 tons. Next month, I know Hungary's been buying it. U.S. Federal Reserve is loading up. Canada obviously isn't. It's at 0. But that doesn't mean you can't as individuals. Silver, gold, for example, is real money, has historic value. So regardless of what happens to the markets, to the economy, you will not lose that value. If anything, it will go up in value. So keep that in mind as one option. We're not a big fan of Bitcoin. We don't want to, or cryptos. We don't want to offend anyone. When they first came out, we saw the value as being decentralized, but they're becoming increasingly centralized, and we believe they will get displaced by a central bank digital currency when that comes out. We view them right now as a pyramid scheme, and a lot of people are getting hurt. And it's kind of funny, everyone, the multi-controlled, some of them were actually encouraging you to buy Bitcoin. Could you believe it? And now it's tanking.
Sure, yeah.
Are they trying to harm you? Like, what kind of advice is that?
They're not that smart.
What kind of advice would you give that to people? You're harming them in this pyramid scheme right now, right? So keep this in mind. This is what's coming, but make sure you protect your hard-earned wealth that you created. Because when this thing crashes, and the bubbles are huge, right? They've been funneling money. During the lockdowns, 21 trillion worldwide in debt by all these governments. 21 trillion, just in the lockdowns, right? So think about this. Protect yourself, protect your families. You have to. It's going to get nasty. Is it deliberate? We don't know. It probably is. They want to crush people and then bring the financial reset. People will be begging. That's one argument. It's compelling to us. But we want people, that's the best thing you could do, is protect what you work for. Right? Does everyone agree?
Yeah.
Because this is here. I'm not making this up. It's coming. There's financial bubbles everywhere. And actually, it was Russia just yesterday. Putin mentioned it. How they've been fiscally irresponsible in the West, the monetary, just piling on the debt. The presses are running. They're piling up the debt. They're still doing it. It's crazy what's going on, everyone. Thank you.